Good morning and thanks for choosing Fox 10 News on this Sunday morning, August 1st. Happy Sunday. I am Gianni Navarro. Let's first check in with meteorologist Matt Barentine. And Matt, it's already August. That is so crazy. And I must admit, I'm a little biased because August is my birth month. So how's the weather looking for our first week of August?
Well, it's going to be hot today, but then things are going to change. So we are going to be looking at better conditions by tomorrow, at least rainier conditions by tomorrow. I guess it depends on how you define better. All right, so what we're looking at today is a heat advisory. Now, yesterday we had a heat warning, so we've made an improvement. We've come from a warning to just an advisory. It's still going to be really hot today, okay? You're probably not really going to notice much of a difference here today, but certainly by tomorrow you will. I mean, the heat index values, like I said, easily could get up to around 110 here this afternoon. Yesterday, the hottest that we got was 121, believe it or not, in Pascagoula. 121 was the highest heat index I saw. Got to 114 in downtown Mobile, 115. So I think we'll be close to that, but not quite the same. But still, you know, we're splitting hairs here. It's going to really, really be hot and dangerous type of heat where you got to stay hydrated, take your frequent breaks, and just likely stay inside during the hottest part of the day. We know these things. Just be careful out there. Here's your temperatures right now. Mid to upper 70s. It's very, very humid outside at the moment. That's all part of it, right? It has to be really humid to get these high heat index values, and that's what we have. Radar has been pretty quiet, some showers pretty far offshore, but otherwise looking good for us. So temperatures will heat up quickly. You can see the rain chances. There's some for during the day, but they're really low. It won't really be until later on in the evening I think we'll get some showers. So I think most of the day will actually be fairly dry. Just a couple of pop-up showers are possible, but highs, look at this, getting all the way back up into the mid-90s. So another hot and toasty day. But this goes away by tomorrow as the rain chances really jump on up. I'll give you details on that coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. New this morning, the Mobile Police Department needs help locating a missing person. Authorities tell us that 90-year-old Andrew Bailey is missing. He suffers from memory issues and can be easily confused. Police say he was last seen wearing a blue striped shirt, gray slacks, and gray shoes. He's 6 feet tall with gray hair and brown eyes. He was last seen in the area of Mimosa Drive in a beige Crown Victoria LX. If you have any information on his whereabouts, please contact Mobile Police. 2 boaters are rescued by the Coast Guard Aviation Training Center about 30 sea miles south of Perdido Key. The boat had been adrift and was located by one of the ATC's helicopters, along with the help of the Pensacola Coast Guard Station and a Good Samaritan. There is a potential housing crisis on the horizon in the United States. The end of a federal moratorium on eviction means Americans who fell behind on rent during the pandemic could soon be forced out of their homes. The moratorium had been in effect since last year, originally imposed by the CDC to slow the spread of infections during the pandemic. The Supreme Court ruled last month the ban would not be extended without congressional approval. A last-ditch effort by Democrats to save it ultimately failed. A federal program meant to provide relief hasn't provided enough. Despite $46 billion approved in emergency aid, only a fraction of that has actually reached tenants and landlords. According to the Census Bureau, around 3.5 million Americans could be facing eviction within the next 2 months. In some areas, nearly a quarter of renters are behind on payments.
Many families are on the precipice of devastation. And the fact of the matter is that families are running out of options, but government has many still on the table that have not yet been exhausted.
I see a rush to the courthouse by landlords to file every eviction they possibly can.
Even though time is up on the federal ban on evictions, California, 8 other states, and Washington, D.C. still have their own eviction moratoriums in place. 3 Democratic congressmen spent the night on the Capitol steps to call attention to the ban on evictions. Representatives Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, and Cori Bush of Missouri wanted to send a strong message. Bush, in particular, who knows what it's like to be evicted and homeless, worries that millions could lose shelter. She's angry that congressional leaders failed to address the issue before the House adjourned for its August recess. recess. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Friday that it is up to the CDC to extend the moratorium, not Congress. Protesters also took to the Speaker's home to protest.
But this is not a problem that one person can really tackle on their own. This has to be dealt with at a city, a state, and a national level, really, because a basic problem that we're seeing is that there is a shortage of affordable housing.
Locally, officials tell us that just because the eviction moratorium expired, that does not mean there will be a high number of renters pushed out of their homes today. The moratorium hasn't slowed the number of eviction cases in court. The Mobile County Circuit Clerk's office says there have been more than 1,850 cases filed since the beginning of the year. Most resolve themselves with tenants voluntarily leaving or working out deals with the landlords. Evictions have continued even through the moratorium because sometimes the issue is more than non-payment. Renters have to show that they have made a good faith effort to pay and that non-payment is tied to the pandemic. The outbreak of the Delta variant in the United States could be worse than originally thought. A leaked CDC report showing each person infected could potentially spread it to 5 to 10 others. That could mean the return of mask mandates in many parts of the country. Fox News correspondent, Christina Coleman has the latest.
The Delta variant is as infectious as chickenpox and can potentially be spread even among people who have been vaccinated. This, according to a trove of internal documents circulating within the CDC.
If they have that breakthrough infection, the new finding is the amount of virus that they're shedding in their nose or mouth is quite high. So that means they're able to infect others.
The agency's report reflecting concern among doctors that a potential next wave of the pandemic could be worse than ones that came before.
4 times the size of the spike that occurred in January. So that's what we are facing.
Delta infections may also be more likely to lead to severe illness. Surges in some states have already led to a shortage of ICU beds. This hospital in Florida already setting up overflow tents in advance of a possible surge to keep non-COVID patients away from the infected. A number of communities around the country are returning to mask mandates as a precaution. But the CDC report goes even further, warning universal masking is essential. That's something Americans have mixed feelings about after the last year.
I'm vaccinated, but my kids aren't, obviously. They'll definitely be wearing masks more, and I'll be wearing masks probably more now.
If I see probably more of people are hospitalized with fatality rates, I'll be more concerned.
Despite the new concern, studies show the vaccines remain 90% effective in preventing severe disease, and 9 out of 10 new cases are among people who have not been vaccinated. In Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
We're taking a live look now at the Alabama Department of Public Health's risk indicator map. As you can see, most of the state is in the red, which means very high risk with the exception of 7 counties. According to a new report, the number of people hospitalized with COVID-19 jumped from 204 to 1,345 in July. Health officials say they are worried the state will soon see numbers that match or exceed the previous peak of the pandemic. Dr. Don Williamson, the former state health officer who now heads the Alabama Hospital Association, says state hospitals are seeing an increase of about 70 to 90 patients per day with COVID-19. Alabama's status as the least vaccinated state in the country is causing health officials to emphasize the need for mask wearing and vaccinations.
Floridians have been, are, and will remain free to choose what's best for themselves and their families, and we will protect their right to work, we'll protect the right of businesses to operate, and we will protect the right of our kids to attend school in person.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis not budging one bit when it comes to lockdowns and mandates in the Sunshine State. This as Florida reporting more than 21,000 new cases, the state's highest daily total since the pandemic began, according to federal health data released. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is Two leading groups that represent OBGYNs are recommending for the first time that women who are pregnant should be vaccinated against COVID-19. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists and the Society of Maternal Fetal Medicine said their recommending is evidence-based since thousands of pregnant women have now been vaccinated safely. The CDC has not identified any safety concerns for pregnant people and their babies. For those who have been vaccinated, so far all vaccines appear to be equally effective in pregnant women. However, people should be aware of the risk of rare blood clots with the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine.